And Radio Gold and Radio XYZ have received broadcast authorizations by the NCA, allowing them to resume operations. The stations are among a total of 133 FM radio broadcasting authorizations approved by the regulator. In a statement, the NCA board explains, quote, this approval is subject to the applicant attending a sensitization workshop on the terms and conditions of FM radio broadcasting authorizations. The workshop shall clarify the legal, regulatory and technical requirements for the establishment and operation of an FM radio broadcasting station. Management of the two radio stations are yet to react publicly, while the management of Radio XYZ indicated they were in meetings over the NCA's decision. Management of Radio Gold explained they await an official communication from the NCA. The NCA indicates that provisional authorizations shall be issued to the successful applicants at the end of the workshop, and frequencies shall be assigned to the applicants only upon the fulfillment of the conditions of the provisional authorization.
Well, so let's stay a bit further on this particular one, especially because of what happened with some security personnel together with the NCA officials, Portia, if you recall, storming these radio stations, closing them down. Let's go back quickly, do a quick recall of what exactly happened in 2017. The National Communications Authority sanctioned and closed down some 144 radio stations. Some were sanctioned, others were also closed down. You have the Radio Gold in the Greater Accra region, Radio XYZ in the Greater Accra region. You also have the Capital Radio, also in the Ashanti region, was closed down. And then also when you move to the Western region, the West End Radio and Help FM were amongst a number of radio stations that were closed down. And that's across the country. Now, what exactly were their violations? This is what the NCA communicated to us at the time, that their licenses were revoked because authorizations had expired, and also the illegal operations and broadcasts of these radio stations. And the third reason, the failure to renew the operating licenses. That was the communication by the NCA at the time, and the decision to actually go and close these radio stations. Now, today, as we speak, a decision has communicated to us on a statement from the NCA that they have approved, the new board has approved the operations of Radio Gold, Radio XYZ, and additional 131 radio stations. So adding to the other, we have 133 radio stations receiving authorizations. What, as you read earlier, Portia, is subject to they partaking in a workshop and then also meeting the requirements that the NCA has laid for some temporary approval and authorization. Let's go on to Zoom now. Someone Ati George, a member of parliament for the Ningo Pram Pram constituency, is deputy ranking member of the Communications Committee of Parliament for this particular one. Mr. George, good evening to you. Thank you very much for your time this evening. How do you react to what the NCA has communicated to us now, the decision to have 133 radio stations have the authorizations back, subject to they partaking in a workshop?
Well, a very good evening to you and a very good evening to your listeners. It's welcome news. We are grateful to the new board of the NCA for carrying through what has been 4 years of agony for the owners of this radio station and their staff. What has been 2.5, almost 3 years of engagement by the Parliamentary Select Committee. The Parliamentary Select Committee intervened in this matter about 3 years ago, and we've had several meetings with the former board, with the ministry, with the management of NCA, with management of the radio stations. And today for me is a happy day because it brings to an end a long-running battle. I would say a very big thank you to the former chairman of the Committee of Communications in Parliament, Honorable Kennedy Jiripon, Honorable Okariansa, my ranking member, ABA Husseini, the former board chairman, Kwekuse Chiado, the current board chairman, Mr. Isaac Osebonsu, the minority leader, former communications minister. Honorable Haruna Idrisu, who have guided us on this process. And certainly we cannot forget to say a big thank you to the Minister for Communications for working along with us. We've had our disputes, we've had our arguments, we've had heated debates on the floor of Parliament, in the media landscape. But for me, the bottom line is the independence of the media has triumphed today. For me, the bottom line is these media houses have an opportunity to pick the pieces back up again and go out. Media plurality and media freedoms must be respected at all times. And for me, the board, especially the new board of the NCA, has done quite remarkably well. And we hope that this is a sign of a good working relationship going forward. I mean, they've been in office for barely 3 weeks, and credits to them that they decided to carry on with almost 3 years of negotiations that preceded them coming into office. Some other board may have decided to just scrap it and send us back to square one. But the current board chairman, Isaac Osei-Bones, who seems to be a fine gentleman.
Well, it's important that you make the point about the period they've been in office, just 3 weeks. I mean, are you aware whether if these radio stations either pay the fines that they were slapped on them 3 years ago, between 50,000 cedis and 61,000 cedis, we understand, did any of them pay the fines by the NCA?
As far as I'm aware, no fines were paid. Like I said to you, there's been a roadmap to this. 3 years of negotiations. We had been firm in our position that those fines were unfortunate, they were unconstitutional or illegal, they were retrospective application of law, and we needed to start with a clean slate. And the ministry also insisted that if that were the case, then they would not be treating them as continuing licenses, and so we needed to have all of the license holders reapply as though they were new entities and not ask for a renewal. I mean, so those are some of the things that happen behind the scenes where we have to get the radio stations to reapply like new entities and not apply for a renewal, but apply for an allocation of a license. And all of those, so as far as I'm aware, no monies were paid.